Four separate companies are merging to serve almost 1 million customers around the Golden Horseshoe under the new name Electra Utilities. Max Cananzi, current president and CEO of Horizon Utilities, is here to talk more about how this will affect the customers. Max, nice to see you today, sir.
Nice to see you, Mike.
Welcome. Now, we were talking off camera, and as we were doing that, Electra in Greek actually means brilliant. So this is a brilliant idea.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we were very proud of how that name came to be. We did engage our employees, and we had consultants working with us, and we're very proud at the end results.
So, in Cole's Notes version for our average viewer out there, tell us, what does this mean for the Hamilton residents specifically, because this is a Hamilton-based show?
Well, it first and foremost, the merger has customer benefits. So we will be looking at reducing our operating costs by approximately 15%, which in total across the four companies, that represents about $50 million a year. That translates into about 6.2% reduction in distribution costs for customers, 8% after a 10-year period, like it actually increases the further out we go. So we're very, very proud about that. That's first and foremost why we're doing this, is for customers. Shareholders will also see a benefit. We are acquiring Hydro One Brampton, so they'll see a lift in their dividends that the city enjoys, which then goes to other social programs within the city. So that's a 29% increase in the dividends, approximately $4.8 million. So that's a big boost. Generally overall efficiencies.
And that's all really important things to think about, because, again, talking off camera, over the holiday season, so many people get together and they talk about, it seems to be water cooler talk. What are you paying? What are you paying? I can't believe it's going up. So to see a small little decrease on a monthly basis will definitely help people out. Talk to us a little bit more about the benefits that the employees of Electra are going to feel from this. Will there be opportunities for them to be promoted within? What are some of the positives there?
Well, Mike, thanks for asking that. We've come through this through experience. Hamilton Hydro back in 2005 merged with St. Catharines Hydro, and to create Horizon Utilities, and it was a huge success for employees. As a result of bringing bringing utilities together, there's always synergies to be found, and there's always some redundancies. But back then in 2005, and like we're doing now with Electra, we will be doing those through voluntary measures. So people that are looking for early retirement or wish to leave the company will be able to get a package to do so. And that will really bring forward the savings that we're looking for. We're very confident of that as we've achieved that in the past. And those that will remain are looking at a much more dynamic, larger company that is serving multiple communities. Across the greater GTHA, and so there will be obviously upward mobility. There will be things that they'll be looking forward to, career changes, enhancements, and developments. Okay. And most of our employees that I've been talking to are extremely excited by the prospects.
That's great. Now, of course, with all the good news, there are always your naysayers. And Tom Adams, who is an energy consultant, was quoted as saying, if you're looking at your power bill and it looks ugly to you and you want it to look better, this isn't going to do much for you. Your response to that, Max?
Well, I disagree with Tom. I think that it's important to first of all, I just want to recognize that we do have a serious problem with electricity prices, and they for many they have become unaffordable. It's also important to remember that what Horizon Utilities is responsible for, and what Electra will be responsible for, is the distribution portion. So we're a distributor, and we represent about 20 to 25% of the bill. Now, it's not the biggest part of the bill, but it's still a sizable portion. And what we're trying to do on this merger is reduce costs. So we're taking our responsibility seriously, and we're advancing things that we have control over so that we can benefit customers. And is it a big bang on your bill? Admittedly, no, but I think it's still important to reduce costs wherever possible.
By all means.
And that's what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, and again, you're taking those first steps by doing that such a thing, because if this is going to put a few extra bucks into the consumer's pocket,
yeah,
all the best. And also moving forward, this is all going to be taking place April the 1st, I understand, so it's no April Fool's joke.
Actually, January 31st.
January 31st.
February 1st will become Electra.
Electra, okay, great. But moving into the spring, you're also going to be moving into monthly billing, which I think will
Correct.
also be very beneficial to people being able to budget their household incomes.
Yes, currently electricity is billed on a 60-day basis. Some businesses are on monthly. They have been on monthly for many years. But for residential customers, it's 60 days normal billing. We will be moving to monthly, as you say, and I think that provides a lot more relevancy to customers. People can associate what they did within the month to what their bill is, and I think that's all good.
Mayor Fred Eisenberger, he was definitely on board with this. Tell us, and some people will say, well, of course he's going to be on board with this. He's getting a $35,000 bump, I guess, by being on the board. However, with that said, what were some of the talks that you had with the mayor of the city of Hamilton and council, and how all that kind of came together?
Well, I think that we laid out a compelling case in front of council. We did meet with council many times over the course of 2 years. Mm-hmm. So we went to council initially and we said, look, we want to investigate this opportunity, and we'll come back at periodic times to update you, and which we did throughout. And I think we put a compelling case in terms of customer benefits, in terms of the shareholder benefits that the city will get from the dividends. Also, there's some very important aspects to this deal in that our current head office on 55 John Street, that Horizon Utilities head office is, continues to remain the head office for the utility in the new company Electra. So that's a commitment to the downtown core, a commitment to maintain a head office with all of its employment that comes with that. So a real bonus for the community.
So with the individuals seeing a reduced cost, it's really nice to hear. Obviously, businesses, they might be saving a bit of a bigger chunk because their
Correct.
Bills will be
larger,
much larger. So that's a bonus, and that's again great for the city of Hamilton to maybe reinvest in their company or in their employees.
Yes, absolutely.
Just like you're doing.
Yes, absolutely. Fully agree with that comment, Mike.
Moving forward, where do you see things kind of happening? Let's look a year, 2 years out with utilities in general, hydro, the distribution center. Do you see any other massive changes happening?
Well, I think the trend of consolidations will continue. We currently have in the province some 60-some utilities still that are in the province, and I guess back 12, 13 years ago that was 308. So it's been it's been consolidating down. I think there's also going to be a lot more changes in how utilities interact with customers. There's a lot more tools and information that is happening. We're going to be taking the conservation programs to another level in providing customers with more of their ability to interact and to affect how they use the energy. And really, that's our tagline on Electra is discover the possibilities. And I think that that's something that we're going to be advancing because it is extremely important for us to have a much deeper connection with customers.
How about the outskirts of Hamilton, the Flamboroughs and such, the rural parts, because they're not going to be part of this. How will that kind of be affected?
Well, we do serve parts of those communities currently, but there are other parts that are served by Hydro One. Okay. And we have, over the years, maintained as a priority discussions on an ongoing basis with Hydro One, made it very clear from day one that we eventually want to be in a position to acquire those customers. Mm-hmm. We want those customers to be Electra customers in the future, and that's going to be a continued priority for us. Almost
sounds like a game of Monopoly where you have to buy the electric companies, the water companies. It'd be nice if you could have it all under one big umbrella, just like the city of Hamilton is. What I really liked, we talked again about this off camera, is the constant education that your company gives through emails, through direct mail, even through TV commercials. And I specifically focus on the email because I'm signed up for e-billing, and I hope everyone else out there is. It's very important that you give those little reminders to people how to cut your costs down.
It's absolutely critical, and it speaks to some of the rising costs that this province has experienced over the years. investment in generation is extremely expensive. And the most effective way is to actually not produce that generation in the first place. And that's why conservation is so effective and so important. It is something that we firmly believe in as a company. It is something that we'll be doing a lot more of in terms of communicating with customers, providing them with a lot of tools. Right now, I think a lot of the stuff that has gone into the communication aspect is asking customers to do certain things. And our hope is that we'll have a whole series of products that will be able to interact with customers that they can elect to choose.
Now, with all that said, to those people out there that will say, okay, Max, I am doing everything you're telling me to do. I am reading your emails. I have LED lights. I'm doing absolutely everything. Everything's high efficiency, yet my bill continues to go up. Your comment to something like that?
Well, I think we just got to stay vigilant. I think that we're likely, unfortunately, over the next 5 years, certainly in the near term, we're likely going to see continued escalation of prices on the generation. It's important to note that what we had in terms of the generation in the province was really old generation that needed to be retired. Those were fully depreciated assets. So when you replace old assets that you've already paid for with new assets that you've got to pay for, there's bound to be a bump up in prices, and that's really a lot of what is being affected currently. We also took on a tack of going into renewables, the green energy. That's expensive stuff, and that is contributing to that price increase as well. So unfortunately, I think in the near term, the outlook for price escalations is not very good, because the news is that the expectation should be that we're going to be increasing. But that's why I continue to stress that we need to find more opportunities to conserve. And I know that customers are doing everything possible that they can, but we hope to introduce new products into the marketplace with the new technologies that will be able to give greater control to customers.
Where does Electra sit in regards to a ranking, if you will, throughout not just Canada, but even North America, on how they stand, how they look after their customers and pricing, so on and so forth?
Well, I think from a pricing standpoint, when we look, overall, the overall customer bill is predominantly energy related. So when you look at the overall bill in Ontario, I think that the former companies of EnerSource, Horizon Utilities, and PowerStream, and Hydro One Brampton, who are merging to create Electra, are all top performers in terms of rates. That was one of the reasons that attracted us to come together, because we're all very good performers from a rate perspective in Ontario. So that's good news on that front. And when you take a look at our customer satisfaction, Horizon has customer satisfaction that is in the 90s. We've always held a very high priority on that. And when you take a look at EnerSource and PowerStream and Hydro One Brampton, they too as well have a very high customer satisfaction threshold. When you compare that across the board across Ontario, I think that again we're leading utilities in that front. And so culturally and from a performance perspective as well, we're a really good fit.
You're a good fit. Out west, they have the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power in terms of size. You guys are going to basically be 1 and 2. You've been in the business for 30 years. Do you have some relations out there? Have you talked to those people out there, how they do things and how this kind of merger came together? Did you get some insight from them at all?
We haven't spoken to Los Angeles Power and Light for many years. I have had an exchange with them probably about a decade ago.
Okay, that's fair.
That's it. Well, but we stay current, but we do have an extensive, obviously, network of other utilities. All of the CEOs of the companies, including myself, are very active in various associations, energy related. So we do interact and discuss opportunities to bring to customers with other utilities throughout Canada and some parts of the U.S. as well.
Going back to a question I kind of asked earlier, if you could look at and predict the future, do you see one company for all of Ontario down the road?
No, I don't think that necessarily one size fits all is the solution. And again, you know, this merger worked because we investigated it. We saw that there was a path forward and that we could deliver benefits to customers. And you know, we've looked at other opportunities in the past. Horizon Utilities has, for instance, and we've actually turned down some of those opportunities because we didn't think that they would be in the best interest of our customers. So one size doesn't fit all. You've got to do the homework. You've got to analyze it. And you know, if there is a positive, if it's accretive to shareholders, only then will we actually move forward.
Good stuff. And I think it's a reminder, I know we touched on this, but before we wrap up here, one more time, Max, the benefits, again, that the customers will see moving forward come the end of the month and moving forward 2017 and beyond with their bills.
So the initially day one and likely for the first few years, there's going to be very little improvement on the bill, but then what customers should expect to see is a reduction in the distribution portion of about 6.2%, and after 10 years, 8%.
8%, beautiful. So be patient, right?
Be patient, yes.